Hi, everybody. Welcome to the show. I'm Valerie Z, the founder of Spiritual Cardio, a 10-week group coaching program that teaches women how to make peace with their inner truth and practice self-love, where we heal in community by interrogating our inner demons until they lose power over us. I'm bringing you the powerful spiritual practices that helped birth my transformation because I want the same for you. I'm going to teach you how to build a love story with yourself and your inner child. So let's go. I'm sure you guys know by now how much I love doing this show. I pour my heart and soul into each episode to create a ripple effect of healing and self-awareness in the world. And you guys can help me make that little ripple into a wave. So I ask that if you find value in this episode, or if you had any aha moments, or if the show helps you navigate your life in a more positive direction, please share the show. It would mean so much to me if you would do that. And now let's get into it. Hey, you guys, this is Valerie Z, and this is episode 25 of the Spiritual Cardio podcast. Thank you for coming back and tuning in with me. I am recording this as my 6 years of sobriety approaches, so this is my 6 years of sobriety celebration, so to speak, and I want to share with you the gifts of sobriety. When I first realized that I needed to stop drinking, and when I first admitted to myself that I was an alcoholic, that was heavy. And I thought my life was over, to be quite honest. I thought I'm never going to have fun again. That is how much I was programmed to believe that alcohol was everything in my life. The dependence on alcohol was so strong that I thought I'm no longer going to be able to have fun. I'm no longer going to be able to hang out with friends. I'm no longer gonna know how to have a good time. And that's because alcohol was a primary value of mine. It was how I connected with people. If I wasn't getting drunk with you, I wasn't having fun with you. And it got to the point that I was using people as an excuse to drink. And while I was out with them, when we were having the first drink, I was already trying to figure out in my mind how I was going to present the idea of having a second drink without it sounding like I was an alcoholic. I was already figuring out how I could manipulate the conversation so that I can persuade them to have a second drink and a third drink and a fourth drink so that I could have my way, so that I could get drunk. The alcohol dependence was real. What I didn't realize at the time is that that wasn't real connection. Getting drunk with somebody is a synthetic connection to them. Real connection is when you can hang out with someone and deeply connect and have meaningful conversation without the need to disconnect through alcohol. I didn't know that at the time. And I had many drinking buddies. But when I got sober, I found out who my real friends were. The ones that were very supportive of the fact that I needed and wanted to get sober. And I'm so grateful that I was starting to open my eyes and recognize that I was responsible for everything that was happening to me. Not only was I alcohol dependent, but I was also doing things while drunk that I'd never do sober. I had become the abuser and the abused because I knew that if I drank too much, I was going to wake up regretting having drank so much. I knew that if I drank too much, I was going to lose control and black out or make out with somebody that I'd never make out with sober, or that I was going to drive and put my life and other people's lives at risk. So that's what I mean by the abuser, is that I knew that I was going to do something that was going to be detrimental to my safety or to my self-esteem, but I do it anyway. And then the abused is the person that wakes up the next day feeling ashamed, feeling embarrassed, feeling like lost and confused about what happened the night before. How did I get home? How did I get here? Where's my keys? Where's my cell phone? It's just an awful way to live. So that's what I mean by the abuser and the abused, is that I'd pursue drinking as this desire to have fun, but then I'd wake up feeling lost and ashamed, and it was a never-ending cycle. And that shame is hard to recover from. It takes sometimes days, sometimes weeks to recover from it. And so then I'd go a few weeks being very cautious about how much I was drinking, but then it'd lead back to another episode of blacking out. And I was really lucky. I was so lucky that nothing fatal happened to me. But there were many rock bottoms where I started to notice that the shame I felt in the morning after drinking was the same shame that I felt growing up as a child that was sexually abused. And growing up, I always felt like there was something wrong with me, like I was bad, like I was dirty. And it was a very, very internalized feeling. It was internal, and it was something that I couldn't shake. And waking up from blackouts, I felt that same deep-seated shame, that same feeling of being a bad person. And I started to recognize the parallel feeling, the parallel thinking of how I felt growing up and to how I felt the next day as an adult after a blackout or an episode of binge drinking. Noticing that gave me the opportunity to recognize that I was reliving or recreating my childhood trauma. Every time I chose to get drunk, I was recreating that story of shame. I was recreating that feeling of feeling bad on the inside. That is such a deep realization, right? To recognize that you are recreating your childhood trauma story every week, every weekend. And when I started noticing that, it dawned on me that I was the problem, that I was responsible for this feeling, that I was the only one who could fucking change it. And so this realization of that I was the only one who could change it, then I started to ask myself another question, which was, what do I need to do next? Well, if I eliminate alcohol, because alcohol is the common denominator to my problems, if I eliminate alcohol, these problems will stop. This feeling of shame and feeling bad about myself and feeling like a victim, and then also feeling like the person responsible for that victimhood feeling, all of this will go away if I stop it. I just need to stop drinking. I just need to stop drinking. But I thought, oh my God, if I stop drinking, my life is over. I can't stop drinking. And I didn't want to stop drinking. I didn't want my life to change, but I thought if I do not stop drinking, I'm going to keep hurting myself, or I'll eventually hurt somebody else by driving drunk. I had to do it. I thought it's either do this, stop drinking, or fucking die a slow death. Every time I got drunk, I lost control. I'm not a normal drinker. I used to wish I was a normal drinker in early sobriety, but I'm not a normal drinker. I lose control. What's the point of having just one? That's boring. What's the point of having just two? That's fucking boring. Like, I want 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. But that always ended in blackouts. And so I thought to myself, if I don't stop drinking, I'm gonna fucking die one of these days. Or I'm gonna end up in prison because I'm driving drunk sometimes. It was a life or death decision for me. And blacking out, it's like you're playing Russian roulette with your life because you don't know what happens when you're blacked out. If you're a blackout drinker, you can understand this. If you're not a blackout drinker, what happens is you're drinking and you're having a good time, and then one moment to the next, you wake up. It's like this time capsule. From one moment to the next, you're having a good time, and the next moment, you wake up somewhere, whether at home or at your friend's house or somewhere else. But you wake up and are like, what happened? Where's the party? How did I get home? So blackouts are like you're playing Russian roulette with your life, and you don't know what happens during that period of blackout. You will never have a memory of it because your brain, once enough alcohol hits your brain, like the part of your brain that processes memory stops working. That's why it's called the blackout, because it's literally like your brain is not processing that memory. That's what I mean by playing Russian roulette with your life as a blackout drinker, is because you don't know what the hell happened from that last moment where you're there in that setting where you're drinking and then you wake up. I was playing Russian roulette with my life because I was aware that I didn't have any desire to control my drinking once I had one or two. And so I knew that the only option I had was to stop drinking. For anybody out there listening to this, I want you to know, if you are terrified of stopping your addiction or your drinking, I want you to know that that is normal, and that is the addiction. That is the alcoholism talking to you. That is the alcoholism lying to you. It's lying to you. It's fucking lying to you. Sobriety, choosing to stop drinking, is the best decision I've ever fucking had to make. It is the most important decision I've ever had to make. And that is because it changed my life. It changed me. It was an act of self-love to say no more. I'm tired of my own bullshit. I'm tired of living this way. I'm tired of feeling ashamed. And that decision changed my life. It was a rebirth. It was a rebirth into a whole new lifestyle. And I want you to know that you will become the best version of yourself gradually if you choose sobriety. I know that alcohol or whatever your vice is provides a medicine for whatever you're struggling with inside. I know I struggled with it for many years. I self-medicated through alcohol for many years, so I know what that internal struggle is. I know that there is a void. There is a wound within you that you are trying to run away from, but I'm telling you, no matter how much alcohol you drink, you are never going to get away from it. It is just a never-ending cycle of medicating, disconnecting, and then returning back to that pain and it's amplified now because whatever happened during that medicating process, you are now having to deal with the shame and the guilt and whatever pieces you need to put back together. So it's a never-ending cycle of abuse. It's a never-ending cycle of depression. It's a never-ending cycle of guilt. It's a never-ending cycle of shame. You may be enticed. You may be enticed in the moment to be lured in by the illusion of having fun or feeling confident. But I'm telling you that through sobriety, you can produce those feelings of confidence. You can have fun without the alcohol, without producing any more shame, any more guilt, any more rock bottoms. You can produce confidence without the alcohol. You start to recognize that you can build yourself up in other ways that are healthy and that are sustainable. Sustainable. And you become the best version of yourself. Hey ladies, are you craving transformation and personal growth? Are you ready to get radically honest with yourself and own your story? Are you ready to build confidence so that you can manifest your goals? If so, then this may be just what you're looking for. Spiritual Cardio is a course in transformational wisdom that combines traditional spiritual practices with real life experience. At Spiritual Cardio, we heal in community where we can be vulnerable and raw. Because when one woman speaks her truth, she begins to heal, and she opens the door for another woman to speak hers. At Spiritual Cardio, every lesson is designed with you in mind. That includes practical tools with relatable real-life examples. At Spiritual Cardio, we help identify and release energetic blocks so that you can become the architect of your destiny. Head over to valeriezapeta.com to read the powerful testimonials from previous clients and register for an upcoming session. Group and one-on-one coaching is available. All sessions are live and in real time. Now back to the show. After I stopped drinking, that was a rebirth. I actually started to get to know who Valerie was without all the numbing, without all the drinking. I started to realize that I really enjoyed bookstores and I really enjoyed reading. I didn't know that about myself before. I started to connect to my internal self again. I've always loved to write and journal. My mom gave me a diary when I was 12 and I started writing in it that very first day. So when I stopped drinking, I started connecting to these things that I really valued. One of them being journaling. I love writing my feelings down on paper and getting them out of me. It's such a healing experience for me, and it can be for you too. So I highly recommend journaling. But you get to know yourself on a different level. You get to know the self that is not the person that wants to keep drinking and disconnecting and self-destructing. Like, you get to know the other you, the you that wants to heal, the you that wants to grow, the you that wants to evolve. You get to know that person. That's why sobriety is powerful, because as you start getting to know that other version of you, you start evolving into that version of you. Then you start gaining confidence. Then you start valuing other things. You start valuing working out. You start valuing eating healthy. You start valuing loving yourself. When you start to take responsibility for your life and your actions, and you start to look in the mirror without ego and without any buffers and recognize that you are the problem and you are the only one that can solve it, you have to get very honest with yourself. One of the things that I realized while I was in that transitional process, recognizing that I was an alcoholic, I had to confront and admit to myself that I did not love myself. Because a person who loves themselves would not put themselves in a position to be abused, to not have any self-respect for themselves, would not put them in a position to be taken advantage of. Because I was choosing to drink knowing that I didn't have any control and that I might black out, that was not self-love. Living a lifestyle that was destructive like that was not self-love. Ego at that time would tell me, of course I love myself. I got honest with myself about the lifestyle I was living and the decisions I was making around drinking, and I had to tussle with it at first, but I had to accept that I did not love myself. And if you're there, if you're struggling with that, I want you to know that you can prove to yourself that you love yourself daily by choosing not to do these things that are destructive to your mental health and destructive to your safety or to your peace. So getting radically honest with yourself about these things will change your life. Because once you admit these things to yourself, you can't unsee them. And so then you start to make the right choices. When I realized that I did not love myself, I was desperate for self-love. I even Googled how to love myself. I even Googled what is self-love and how to attain it, because I did not know how to attain it. I knew what was happening in my life and I knew what I wanted. I knew that I wanted self-love. And from that moment forward, I was on a mission to love myself. That mission changed my life. Like, I would not be recording this episode on this show right now had I not made these realizations and had I not gotten radically honest with myself. And it's brutal honesty. Like, nobody wants to admit to themselves that they're living in some form of self-hate. Blackout drinking and being in a rush to disconnect from yourself every weekend, that is not a demonstration of self-love. That is a demonstration of self-hate. Because a person who loves themselves is not in a rush or does not choose to disconnect from themselves. They always want to be connected to themselves because they love themselves. They appreciate who they are. I now appreciate who I am. And I'm 6 years sober today by the grace of God. Thank you, God, for giving me the opportunity to look myself in the mirror and get honest. Thank you, God, for giving me the opportunity to recognize that I was in control. I am in the driver's seat and I could change my life if I want to. Thank you, God, for my rock bottoms, because they helped me see how I was devastating my life. Those rock bottoms were blessings in disguise. Those rock bottoms helped me so much, as painful as they were. As painful as they were, I got the message. I got the message that I needed to change myself. And guys, changing yourself it's just a daily choice. You don't have to think about it as a long-term, arduous process. It's a daily choice. It's a daily choice not to drink. Just don't drink or use for today. It's a daily choice to say a prayer. It's a daily choice to express gratitude for the things that you have and to recognize the messages that God is putting before us. Those rock bottoms were a message from God letting me know that I needed healing. And those helped me get honest with myself about what I was battling internally. feelings of shame, feelings of not feeling enough or good enough, feelings of insecurity. If you're not happy with your weight, if you're not happy with your life, do something about it. Just do a Google search on whatever it is that you're struggling with, how to ... And just go from there. Like, you are the architect of your destiny. You can change it. The choice to disconnect from yourself through alcohol or whatever it is that you use is hindering you. If you're making a choice to do something, knowing that it's hindering you, knowing that it's hurting you, knowing that it will hold you back in some way, knowing that it turns you into somebody you're not, and you're doing it anyway, that is called an addiction. And you don't have to live that way. Prayer, spirituality can help guide you. Just invite God or your higher power into your life daily. Ask for strength, ask for guidance, ask for hope. Invite God into your life. Lean on something other than what you've been leaning on, because that's obviously not working. I'm a testament to it. I was leaning on alcohol and that wasn't working. Yeah, there were many outings that I'd look forward to, and then all of a sudden I'd wake up and realize that I missed it because I had blacked out. I don't miss those days. Getting sober is like taking the scenic route of life. You give yourself the opportunity to savor life's moments, whether it be birthday parties, graduations, births of a new family member, a new relationship, or anniversaries, like whatever it is, you savor every moment and you're fully present for it. It's such a blessing to be fully present for your life, to be fully present for yourself now. God, that's a blessing. You're not missing out. You are fully present for the beauty of life. And what that means is that you're also fully present for the not so fun moments of life, for life's curveballs, for the stuff that happens that make us cry, that break our heart, that make us grieve. We're also fully present for that too. But you also build this muscle of resilience in your heart, because now you can take on life's obstacles. Now you can take on life's challenges, which make you stronger. I'm not saying that they're not hard, because they fucking are. But they make you stronger. They make you more resilient, and they make you wiser. Why? Because you're now present for them. You're not running from them, or numbing them, or watering them down. The lessons are coming, and you're fully present and able to see and hear the lessons as they arrive. So I want to thank you for tuning in to this podcast. This podcast means the world to me. I pour my heart and soul into each episode, and I hope that you gained value from this. I'm now 6 years sober, and I feel really blessed to be in the space, to be who I am today, all because I chose to get radically honest and I chose to love myself. Of course, please support the show. It would mean so much to me if you would share the show with someone you love, share this episode with someone you love, and follow at Spiritual Cardio on social media. You can also follow my other account, which is at This Is Valerie Z on IG. You can donate to the show. This is a self-funded show, so if you find value in this and want to support my work, you can donate at valeriezapeta.com. You can subscribe to the YouTube channel. and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. Anything you can do to support the show is going to help me spread this message. So I appreciate you. Thank you for tuning in. This is Valerie Z, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye. Hey, thank you for showing up and spending some time with me. If you loved this episode, please make sure to subscribe. And for exclusive content, you can sign up for my newsletter at valeriezapeta.com. I'll see you guys at the next show.